Hello everybody and welcome back. I was going to say, is this my first vlog or is this my second? I suppose this is my second. Although last week was just telling you what I was going to do. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But anyway, if you don't know what I'm doing here, like I said last week, I am going to be doing a weekly vlog from now on, talking about things in the games industry that has caught my eye. This week it is VR. So as you will be able to tell from the nice title below, this is going to be about why VR might succeed. I suppose I should tell you off the bat, I've not actually tried VR, but for the purpose of this vlog, that doesn't really matter. You'll find out if you listen and carry on, but I think it's probably best to be upfront and let you know that I haven't played it or used it, so I don't actually know what it's like. So why doesn't it matter? Well, I suppose I'm not going to sit here and tell you how good it is or why you should be using it or why you should be investing in it. That's purely up to yourself, and it doesn't really bother me in the slightest. So what I'm going to do is tell you how, I'm not even going to tell you how good these games are or can be. So the fact that I haven't played it doesn't matter. And to be quite honest, the coverage I have seen of these games so far, racing games aside, it's actually done very little to convince me that they are anything beyond just interesting or simply a good tech demo, a bit like the games, I don't know, a bit like games like Wii Sports or Wii Play, I think was the one you got with the controller. Can't actually remember, but you know what I mean. So what am I on about? Well, like I said, I'm not going to tell you how good it is, but simply how or why I think it might be here to stay for the long haul. I think we can remove the reality of the games that we have at the moment and discuss the technology itself objectively, which is what I'm going to try and do here. Especially because my reasons for this stretch far beyond its ramifications for the games industry, and actually its ramifications for the games industry, it's not something that excites me all that much. For starters, I genuinely think that there's potential for this to be the next big thing that shapes the way we communicate and consume media. If we look at a timeline and kind of walk it back from the invention of the telephone, that changed how we would communicate forever. I'm not sure we maybe realised that at the time, but I realised that quite fine. But it was kind of like a slow build. So then we had a slow evolution to the point of no longer needing things like switchboards. If you were going to call someone, you didn't have to phone and someone ask your phone to be put through to someone else. You could just dial a number and get them on in the end of the line. The phones became more slick as time went on to the point that these things have continued their iteration, and you do things like send text messages, emails, and then you can check your social media pages. I think it's probably the single motivating factor and the reason that we have things like social media today is the mobile phone. So, I guess that also kind of iterated upon itself as well. Now we have things like Skype and FaceTime on our phones that were initially just on computers, and now we can see people that we want to speak to just by pushing a button, and we have them in front of our face. They're now just not phones. They're these one-size-fits-all devices. You can manage your finances, organise and plan your day, communicate by people, again, like I say, by text, email, call, FaceTime. You can even watch film and TV, listen to podcasts and music on these devices. There's so much more than just phones now. I'd say even their phones to an extent are like a secondary function for many people. But they still remain there for communication, whether that's an absorbent media, whether that's through, like I say, film, TV, or just phoning people and interacting with your friends via social media and your calls and texts and things. But I'm kind of getting off the track. But I guess but I suppose if you kind of carry on that train of thought and then relate it back to VR, I suppose it isn't too outlandish to think that we can put these devices on our heads and wear them and see ourselves in our parents' home, chatting away very nearly like we're in the room with them. Beyond that, imagine these 3D cameras being placed in the front row of a gig, or at the International Space Station, or being taken to Mars, or put on the moon, under the sea, onto F1 cars and rally cars. You could buy or pay a fee to log into these events and explore, sit in front of a row of a concert, or see what it's like I say, on Mars in real time. And to me, that's really, really exciting. I even have things like a slow evolution to the point that we can pay for our Sky TV subscription, or I guess cable if you're in America, and you can have a package. Say you have the F1 package, you can have an add-on to this package in which there's a 3D camera put on top of someone's helmet, and at any time during the match you want, during the race, you can tell they watch F1. You can just log on, have a look around the car, see what the driver's seeing, and listen into there's been going on the radio and things like that. I think that is so exciting. Obviously, it isn't as good as the real thing, but all of a sudden these experiences are open to people, and I think, like I say, that's potentially amazing. If we rope in Microsoft's HoloLens to this as well, then we can have things like sat-navs that project onto the road in front of us, games like paintball, fun runs like Tough Mudder, or the zombie runs that you kind of get up and down the country. All that all of a sudden become much more fun. There are clearly serious implications, but also these little fun side projects that we can all enjoy and help along the way to help it garner mainstream appeal. I think that's important. In terms of media itself, I think if used correctly and put in the right hands, there's scope for new forms of media entirely to be made. Almost like a kind of melding of video games and film. I'm relatively sure that if you put this in the hands of a talented director or storyteller, we can tell and make compelling new ways to absorb these stories. I guess off the top of my head, imagine putting on a Vive and finding yourself in a restaurant. You can walk around the restaurant, you can listen in to what people are saying, you can go where you like, and you can maybe see things that you wouldn't necessarily see in a way that you would on a camera, if that makes sense. And where you go is up to you, which again makes it kind of more interesting as well. You can walk from table to table, like a little bit. Like I say, you can walk from table to table, listen to the conversations, see things unfold from different perspectives. You could tell some wonderful stories like this and stimulate discussions for hours. Hey, did you hear that guy in the tuxedo speaking to his wife? Did you hear what he said? No, I missed that, but now you said that actually makes sense, because I saw a guy over in the corner doing something, and that makes sense, and that's why he did that. And it's this kind of discovery-based media, and I think that's really cool. It suddenly makes things like murder mysteries really, really compelling. You can walk around these mansions. I mean, people could essentially rent out these mansions, and you put on a Vive, and you walk around the actual mansion, having a look and maybe seeing, like, if you've been playing the Division recently, you can see these echoes and see what happened and try and piece together. And I think that's so exciting, and I really, really want to do something like that. I suppose if we bring that back to video games now, the reason I think it might succeed is that these examples I've given all exist out with the gaming sphere. I think that if we look back to previous gimmicks of peripherals, can't say that word very well, like Kinect, plastic guitars and the Wiimote, these things failed to have a long-term place in our lives because, on one hand, I think you could make the argument that they never actually worked as intended out of the box. We didn't really live up to its promise until the Motion Plus came along, and Kinect didn't do what it was supposed to do until the Xbox One version, and by then interest had moved on and people were sick of it. Beyond that though, they were also locked into the gaming industry. When the games industry rejected them, they then lost their place in the world and ceased to exist in a kind of commercially viable way, and relegated them to old tech or just plain old failed experiments. For me, the fact that VR has as many uses, if not more, outside of games industry means that at least it has a decent chance of success. Maybe not this year or next, but in the long term. Mobile phones didn't immediately take over the world. It was more of a slow burn. HD TVs didn't immediately get adopted into the mainstream. It was a slow burn as well, and the same can be said of Blu-ray and 4K TV. The point is that as technology improves, these things, or headsets, will as well, and they will also become more affordable. What I say about them at this point is, think of them as like a new technology. The Oculus, the Vive, and PSVR are like almost the first wave. We are already have a few waves of 4K TVs at this point, and well, they've not properly caught on, but chances are they will do in the next year or two. And only now are we approaching affordability to the mainstream. The same, I think, is true of VR, and I think the potential of these things is very, very exciting indeed. Can you tell me the word's exciting for the day? It used to be interesting if you've listened to our podcasts. But anyway, that's just what I think. Let me know what you think. You can comment below, follow me on Twitter. My gaming Twitter is @GTSmiley, or if you want to check out what Gamertron are up to at large, @UKGamertron. You can also like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Gamertron. And that's it. Next week, obviously I don't know what the topic is going to be yet. We've got a whole week of games to absorb and think about. I'm also off south of the wall on Monday.